Hi, welcome to Camp Happy Mail. So today I thought we would just do a quick and easy card, just using a stencil and a couple of inks. This stencil that I'm using is Geometric Tiles, and this is by Pinkfresh Studios. This is kind of the pattern that it makes. It is a 4-piece stencil set. So we're going to use, this is a grippy mat or a sticky mat. This is from Amazon. If I can find this again, I'll put a link below. And then I picked up a 3-pack of the scrapbook.com inks. I really wanted to try theirs in comparison with Simon Hurley's inks. I've only recently broken these ones out. I've had them for a little bit, but I haven't pulled them out to play with them yet. So we're gonna do some of that today. So our first stencil, and now this is a 4-piece stencil set, which means I'm gonna need a 4th color. And I might mix 2 of these colors to get that 4th color. So we're going to start with stencil number 1, and all of the stencils are marked stencil 1, and they have little corner grids on them so you can line them up on your paper. So let's do stencil number 1. And that is going to be super close to the edge of the paper, which is really unusual, but we'll go with it. Okay, and then we'll press this down really well. I am just using basic finger daubers on this. I'm not going to use brushes because the spaces are small enough that I can get away with the daubers. So let's see what we got. I've not opened up one of these yet. Okay, and that looks to be like a foam pad, maybe. No, it's a felt pad. Okay, so it is a felt pad like Simon Hurley's are felt pads. 2 very different colors of red. Okay, so let's go ahead and do these first ones in red. Just really easy ink blending, it's all it takes. And we're not even ink blending because we're just using one color. So we're just essentially inking through the stencil. I can see that there could be lots of variations with this stencil. Just even this piece. And we might make more than one today, we'll see. Okay, so first pass through, that's pretty easy, isn't it? I'm just going over each of them again to make sure that I got all the areas colored in. Okay, that looks good. I really like the coverage of that ink. And that's crisp, that's nice. Okay, let's go for stencil number 2. I'll try to get this lined up in the corner again. Okay, and let's go for the Daffodil. That Havana Red is really a pretty red. Now check this out. So the color of this does not look like this, but it does match the color of this. So I kind of knew that it was going to be this color, and I'm excited about that because this is really dull compared to the ink. But that's okay. It's sometimes hard to get colors right on packaging. So they totally get a pass on that because I understand it. I work in marketing, and sometimes I get to do packaging for things. And it's really hard to get colors right especially when you're sending things out to be commercially printed. You've really got to know what you're doing to ensure that the printer can print things the color that you want them to be printed. So I totally get that it may be difficult for them to do the color matching properly on these cases, on the plastic cases. They just may not have the capabilities to get them printed the right way, or so that the colors are perfect matches. And that may not be important to them either, because you can see what color the ink is by the ink bottles and when you lift the lid off. What I'll probably do is I'll probably make some labels for on the sides of these, but I'll use the actual ink pads to make those color labels. If I decide to purchase any more of these, then that would be definitely helpful to know what shade the colors are at a glance. But man, boy, is that a pretty color of yellow. I just really love yellow. It's a great color. I don't wear yellow a lot because it makes me look really pale because I'm very fair complected. But I do like yellow on cards. It's just bright and sunny and cheerful. And I got off of the stencil over here, so we will be trimming this panel. Okay, that's pretty bright. I like that. That's really awesome. All right, let's do stencil number 3, and that's going to be the insides of all the reds. And this is going to be cool because it's going to be the blue. And this blue is like a turquoise color. Wait till you see this blue. And I only know what it looks like because I've got the reinker right here. So this one's a little bit more tricky to get lined up. Trying to get it as centered as possible so that it looks right. But that's definitely tricky. So this set of inks actually came as a set. It came as a 3-pack. And I was hoping that the colors were going to be bright like this. And to no fault of scrapbook.com, I mean, that their color lids don't match. You'll find that a lot on packaging of ink, that the colors, same thing with markers too. The marker barrels don't always match the exact color of ink because it's really, really hard to get them to match. So it's all good. It's all good because look how beautiful this color is. Just gorgeous. I'm really happy that they packaged these the way that they did. And I'm actually really excited that they put a turquoise blue in with their red and yellow instead of a dark blue. Because dark blue would have been your standard primary colors, but to make this one a turquoise, well played, scrapbook.com, well played. That turquoise is super, super pretty. All right. So let's pick this up. Oh, yeah. That's awesome. I really, really like that. So the last stencil that we have then is this one, and it's little tiny dots that go in between the yellow flowers, I guess they could be. So I'm gonna mix 2 colors to make the color for that, I think. Okay, so for the dots, I think I'm gonna try to make them, gosh, I could do red and yellow and make them orange. I could do blue and yellow and make them green. I'm afraid that that blue is gonna overpower the yellow though, same thing with the red. So maybe I'll do red then blue, so they would be technically purple, but they might come out looking more black, which I think would be okay. And again, I'm actually not using the corner things, but I'm looking more at the stencil, trying to line the dots up in between the yellow flowers. So let's go over these first with the red. And it's interesting, This was the red dauber. From a distance, like far away, it looks like orange and red. And it looks like orange and red here, but this was the dauber that I used on this ink. That's interesting. I love color stuff like that. And we could probably get away with just leaving these red. But I really wanted to have 4 colors, but I only have 3 colors of ink. So this is how you compensate. If you have a limited color range of your ink pads, this is how you can compensate for that. Okay, so we got all the dots. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna wipe this off. I've got a paper towel here. While keeping it in place. And then I'm gonna go over that with blue. We'll see if it just makes it black or if it actually looks like purple when we're done. And I think, you know what, we might do one in the Simon Hurley inks, just so we can compare the colors. I mean, I know the blues are going to be different, but I'm curious about the reds and the yellows. Simon's blue that I have, and of his colors, I have No Diving, which is the blue. I have Bee Sting, which is the red, and then Shooting Star, which is the yellow. And those also, I believe, came as a 3-pack, as a primary. I could be mistaken. I might have got those individually and just picked primaries. Because if you pick the primary colors, the reds, the yellow, and a blue, then you can make the green and the orange and the purple. So you technically, of any ink set, you don't need to buy the full rainbow. You can buy the 3 primaries and then make all the other colors from it. And in that way you can test out the ink pads, kind of like I'm doing with these 2. Okay, let's see what we got. That's super pretty. And you can't tell, I mean, they look more like they're black than purple. And my ink pads, my blue one is a little bit more juicy than what the other ones were, because the shapes aren't exactly perfect, but it's gonna be okay. So let's go ahead and do, you know what, let's do this panel over here with the Simon Hurley inks. So we'll put these ones up here. And let's pull over Simon's inks. I have played with these inks a little bit, not a whole lot. I actually started using them on a gel press. That's another video that's coming. And then I got carried away and ended up using acrylic paint. So. All right, so let's start with stencil number 1. Did you ever do that? Did you ever start with, you know, using one medium? Like I was using the gel press. Had every intention of just playing with the Simon Hurley inks on it. And then my brain started going. And it was, oh, well, I wonder what would happen if I did this. And what would happen if I tried that. And the next thing I know, I had acrylic paint out and had all kinds of stuff out here. And that's not gonna fit. So we're gonna have to put another one down. Had all kinds of stuff down here, and by the time that I was done making that video, I used the Simon Hurley inks on the first part of it, but not on the last part of it. But we will revisit that again with the gel press. Okay, so. And I know inks aren't normally what you would use on a gel press. It's just, I had them and I didn't know what else to do that day. So that was the direction I went. But did you ever start out doing one thing and end up with totally something different? That seems to happen a lot in my world. Okay. So we're going to do the same color order so that we can compare. So this is the red. This is Bee Sting. Bee Sting is a much darker red, which I like because now I have two different shades of red to play with here. I may need to re-ink this one after playing with it on the gel press. I was doing some ink swiping and some other things with them, so they're not quite as juicy as the scrapbook.com ones because I hadn't played with the scrapbook.com ones yet. Nice felt pad. It's a very firm pad. Scrapbook.coms are a little squishy. They're still felt, but they're a little, not quite as firm as Simon's pads are. But they're both very, very nice. Very, very well done. Okay. All right, we'll go rinse this one off. All right, and the next one is stencil 2. There we go. Had it backwards. That's what was going on. They're hard to see, and part of it is the glare of my light that I'm shooting under. This paper is a little bit shorter than A2 size, so that's gonna have to do. And this is Shooting Star. And this yellow looks a little bit brighter than the daffodil. It's very pretty. Again, another bright yellow, sunshiny yellow for on happy cards. Okay. So we'll go rinse this one off and we'll come back and do the next color. Right, and the next one is the blue. And the blue is No Diving. I just love the names of his inks. They're just super fun. And again, I'm just going to eyeball this instead of using the corner guides. I'm using the corner guides to an extent, but I am also just eyeballing it a little bit. Okay. And this is definitely a darker blue than the turquoise, the Oasis of scrapbook.com. It's a really nice shade of blue. Nice. So the yellow is so bright compared to the red and the blue on this. It kind of plays with your eyes a little bit, but I really like it. Okay, and then for our last stencil, I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to use the red and then I'm going to use the blue to make those dots black. Or a very dark purple that you can't really tell it's purple. I think right there will be good. These little dots are a little bit hard to get into because they are so tiny. I'm not really sure what kind of brush would be best or blending tool would be best for getting in those tiny little dots like that. Although if you press a little bit harder when you go over them, that does help to get the ink down in them a little better. So maybe that's the trick to it. I normally don't have a heavy hand whenever I ink blend, but that seems to be getting ink down in those a little bit better. I think it's also because these ink pads are not as juicy as the scrapbook.com ones, because I did use these ones quite a bit. So the ink just isn't going down through them as easily. Okay, and then we'll do the blue one, but let's wipe off the red ink off of this. Oops, there's a problem. Okay. And then we'll do the blue ones. And I am pressing down harder to force the ink down through the holes. All right, I think we got all of them. And that's the final panel. It's a little bit different looking than the scrapbook.com one. So let me rinse this off and then I'll show you that. Okay, so here are the two panels side by side. This is the scrapbook.com inks. Again, it's Oasis, Havana, and Daffodil. And this is the Simon Hurley one with Bee Sting, Shooting Star, and No Diving. I really like the look of both of them. I think both of them are a great pairing of inks. This is your true primaries with your red, your yellow, and your blue. And then this one is kind of a different set of primaries. The red is more of an orangish red, and the yellow has more orange in it as well. And then just the pairing with the turquoise blue, I mean, that's a perfect set that they put together with those colors. So I'm gonna go ahead and make cards out of these, and I'll come back and show you what I made. So now I'm gonna share with you the two cards that I made from those two stencil panels. And admittedly, this was a harder challenge than I thought it was gonna be. That stencil was super, super busy, and I tried a number of different sentiments and things on them, and everything just made it look really, really busy. So what I ended up doing was this. I decided to go, because I really like the turquoise color, I decided to matte this in glitter paper. And it is turquoise to match the turquoise accents on here. And I thought that that kind of toned everything down a little bit. And then I opted to go with just a big chunky sentiment on this, so that it would stand out against the busy background. I tried smaller sentiment strips, I tried some flower things, and everything that I tried just made it look really, really busy. So this is what I went with, and I did double matte the white layer on this, and then it's just one layer of the glitter paper in the turquoise to match the turquoise on the stencil and the turquoise around the border. So that was the first card. And then for the second one, I kind of went the same direction with it. But instead of matting it on glitter paper, I matted it on black. I was struggling a lot with this, with the primary colors on this being so bright. It was drawing my eye from one back and forth to the other between the yellow and the red and the blue. I think this might have worked out better if the colors would have been monochromatic, as in like a couple of different shades of the yellow or the red or the blue, but not all three of them together. But because I did all three together like the first card, it made it very, very busy. So I had to figure out how to get a sentiment or something to stand out on this. So I opted to matte the whole thing in black, and that kind of grounds it a little bit. And then I double cut the black shadow, and then I ink blended a piece of paper in the same yellow that's used on the card. And with this being ink blended in such a big solid space, it seems to push back or tone down the other yellow that's on this card. And to me, the red and the blue stand out more with that big yellow hello than the yellow does. So I like the way that that turned out. And then I just took some, and I don't know if you can see them, I took some clear Nouveau drops and just randomly dropped them around just to give it a little something extra. I didn't put any Nouveau drops on this one. I may go back and do that, I may not, but all in all, those are the two cards. And again, with the busy backgrounds like this is what I figured out to do with them. If you have any suggestions for what do you put on a busy background like this, drop me some comments, because I'd really like to know. I tried a number of things and I didn't video them. I didn't want to put you through the hour-and-a-half of decision making that it took just to get to this point. So that's the cards for today. And I hope you enjoyed seeing these being made, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks.